Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Health and Hot Mamas. I'm Jo Tierney, and I am here with a new member of our team, Courtney Groves. We gave you a sneak peek of her on Wednesday last week, but here she is for her first episode. So welcome, Courtney. That's not to say Brooklyn will be back. She's going to be a featured contributor, but Courtney will be the primary co-host moving forward, but we could be a trio at times, but for now we're going to be a duo. So welcome, Courtney. I'm so excited that you're here as an official member of Holistic Health and Hot Mamas.
Thanks, me too. I'm really excited to be a part of this.
So perfect. Let's dig right in. We've done a little bit of revamping. We have some new segments that we're going to be introducing, and we're going to, our first time together, we're going to be building our chemistry and seeing how things go. But first, let's start with our celebrations. Tell me what you have to celebrate this week. What's been happening in your world that's new and exciting and bringing you joy?
So this morning I actually went apple picking with my family. We picked some apples. They have like a playground there, so we did that. We saw the farm animals, and my kids really enjoyed that.
That sounds fun for sure. What am I celebrating? I am celebrating the beginning of fall. That's always a great time of year. The summer's winding down, at least the beginning of fall. I'm not as crazy about the end of fall because I know what's coming behind it. But this is a fun time, starting to decorate for Halloween. We're putting away the fall furniture, and that's all exciting, or the summer furniture, and getting out the cute sweaters and funky boots and just living a different fashion world. I prefer the fall fashions to the summer fashions.
Yeah, I love fall also.
So that's something to celebrate. And actually, at the top of the hour, before we spoke about our celebrations, I wanted to tell everyone that Coast to Coast Network is actually doing a shoe drive. One of the members of our administrative team is deployed in the military, and he's working with the Afghanistan evacuees, and he has indicated that there's a desperate need for footwear for all ages, closed-toed footwear. So I just want to tell anybody listening, if you want to reach out to me, there'll be a post, a pinned post to the top of the Coast to Coast Facebook page, and you can reach out. And I will actually also put it on the Holistic Health and Hot Mamas group as well. And if you want to help, I have a blueprint for how to do so in your own community, and I can help you navigate and help in that endeavor if you feel so inclined. So that's certainly not a celebration, but it's certainly something that we wanted to share. So let's dig in. Let's dig into segment one. Our segment one is going to be the topic of the week, and we're going to change it up. We're going to switch it up every week. We have a number of topics that we want to throw out there, and this one we're going to call it festive foods. So, every week we'll pick something else. One is going to be, I forgot what we talked about, healthy habits, festive foods, financial fitness. But for this week, it's festive foods. And we're going to talk about, not festive foods. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about? I forgot already. We're talking about a healthy habit. Our healthy habits. Festive foods is going to be next week because we have to prepare. So what's your healthy habit? What do you want to share with the listeners and the viewers about what you find helps you and to stay healthy?
So my healthy habit is just trying to move a little bit each day. You don't necessarily have to do a workout. You could, go for a walk, play with your kids. If you have pets, you can take your dog for a walk, play a game. Movement doesn't have to be, strict and scheduled. Just you can make it fun.
Agreed. I think it's actually more enjoyable when it's fun. So I'll jump on that bandwagon as well. I think for me, especially when you have young kids, it's tough to squeeze. Sometimes it was particularly when they're babies. I mean, nap times end at some point, and even there's always seems to be a gap to me between the time they're in school and their toddlers and in school that naps end, and then it's tough to squeeze that movement in. But certainly at the park. And we talked about some things last week too, what to do in the house for fun. You can, I saw Courtney, I've seen Courtney before sliding her children across the floor. So that looked like a lot of fun. So that's something to do. I've also seen people do workouts with almost using their children as a weightlifting bench. They lift them on their feet, they're pressing their kids, or I've seen them bicep curl with their kids. So there's a lot of creative ways to use your children, but there's a lot of creative ways to use them and incorporate them into your physical fitness routine. So it's a great idea.
My youngest, Melanie, if I'm working out, sometimes she'll join in with me. She'll like pick up toys and like pretend to do like bicep curls, or if I'm doing push-ups, sometimes she'll like get on my back and gives me some like more resistance.
Well, I say use our kids while we can. And pretty soon she'll be too big to lift. She'll be carrying you around.
Yeah.
So my healthy habit is I love to start out my day with a morning routine. I find it beneficial. It changes the whole entire tone of my day. I feel if I oversleep, wake up late, I'm running around. When I have some time to really get myself together and put myself in a position to be prepared for the day, then I find my day to go much more smoothly. And some of that are just simple practices that help me stay in the right mindset. As you know, I'm a mindset geek. I'm all about mindset. And for me, I like to wake up. I take a few minutes to really think about gratitude. Then cardio for me is, oh, we lost Courtney. Cardio for me is a big deal. So we're not sure what happened there. We lost Courtney for a second.
Sorry.
Cardio is a big deal for me. I like to incorporate that. And oftentimes when I hop on the treadmill, I either listen to music. Sometimes I do a virtual, not as often as I used to, but sometimes I will do a virtual spinning class, but more likely today I'll hop on the treadmill and I will either listen to music or a motivational speaker. I like Motiversity, which is on YouTube, and you can see some great motivational videos on there. And I think that always helps me get through the day. And I start off with someone screaming at me, "Don't fail yourself today." That's one of my favorite ones. It usually at least gets me through 10 o'clock. I might fail after 11, but I'm pretty good until 10. So now what? So that's our first segment. Our second segment is wellness trends out there. We're going to really try to hit the trends that pertain to our industry. And one of the trends that I saw is that they now, and really in response to COVID, is now that they have touchless spas, touch facials, relaxation pods, and dry hydrotherapy massages. So I think that's very interesting. I'm not sure how the dry hydrotherapy massage would work. I assume, there might be some pressure points and you may be, I'm not sure if you're submerged in water. I meant to do a little bit more research on that. The no-touch facials, I've had a virtual facial. I know that was very interesting. And if anybody has any representatives or friends in the beauty industry, that's often free. What will happen is they will send the samples out to you, they ship them to your home, and then they do a facial with you live, and they instruct you on, what products to put on and what order for how long. You mix it up. So you get a kit essentially, and then you're doing a virtual facial. I found that to be very fun. And actually we had a party. We had a virtual party. There were numerous people who did it. And then, of course, if you're interested in buying the products, great. If not, you're not obligated to do so. So that was a lot of fun. So if you ever want to do a little girls pampering party, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, that does sound interesting and really fun. Maybe I'll give that a try sometime.
Yeah, and we've done actually, they weren't facials, but we did 2 masks on air. Brooklyn did the rose mask, and then we did the Hannah Care mask, and those are very interesting. But facial's a little bit different. It's a little bit more pampering, I think. The mask is more, it smooths out your skin, but it feels, when a mask is on, it feels like you're, putting your face into a dehydrator. So the facials are much more nourishing. So what's your wellness trend?
So my wellness trend, this is one has also become really big during COVID, is virtual fitness. Because the gyms closed, obviously, people had to figure out how to work out from home. When COVID started, I actually started a virtual fitness program also, and I love it. I love that I can do it with my kids at home. I don't have to find a babysitter. I don't have to drive in the winter. Um, so now that the gyms are back open, I actually stuck with my virtual fitness program.
So that's interesting. And so I know that actually I turned you on to that virtual fitness program.
Yep, you
And
sure did.
so it was twofold for me. I was actually, and when it first started, it was solely virtual spinning. And so before COVID hit, I would say I was probably too extreme. I would get up in the morning at about 4. I would hit the strength training metabolic class that I would go to. Then I would leave that class and immediately go to the virtual fitness program. And I think we can shout it out. So it's Britt Dietz Fitness. She's a close friend of ours. So I hopped on, and back at that time, Britt was doing. So I was pretty fanatical because Britt was part of the metabolic class, and then she would leave the class as well, the strength training, and go down. She was actually a participant at strength training. Then she would leave strength training and go down and teach at 6 a.m. There were a spins class in studio. And then sometimes I would go after work and hop back on the bike. And I think that my routine was so strict at that time, and I was a little bit obsessed with it at the time. And sometimes I wish I had a little bit of that obsession back now. A lot of the times I do, but I think I have other hobbies now, and broadcasting is one of those. So what happened was COVID hit, and the strength training class, they were the first. No, I think the metabolic class, I can't remember. I think they were the first ones to go virtual, and I just could never get into it. That component of it. So I don't know if it's a one size fits all for everyone. I could not do the metabolic class at home. And I think that part of it was because of all the props I needed, the kettlebell, the sandbag, and I did make do, and I bought it. It was very difficult to buy equipment at that time. I had all the free weights, and they told us how to make a sandbag out of a backpack. But I think the motivation I get from those personal trainers in that setting is very different than being able to do the virtual spinning. So I had the opposite experience. I did not care for the virtual strength training, but I did enjoy the virtual spinning. And now I just have gotten out of the habit of doing it. But yeah, I think so. I think you have to try it and see for yourself. Now I'm back to the gym doing the metabolic class, and I do enjoy being in the gym. I like the camaraderie. I like, I actually go with my sister, and just the fact that she texts me. I find that with the virtual classes, sometimes I want to sleep in.
Yeah,
Right?
it is. Yeah, I agree. It is easy when you're home to get distracted from working out. And then when you're at the gym, like you're already there, so you might as well do it and get it done so you can leave. So I can see why it might not be good for everyone.
And I think that goes back to, I've said this many times, and I stole this from somebody. I'm certainly not going to take the credit for it, but we're not always going to be motivated 100% of the time. And the reality is that you have to find a way to be disciplined, even when you're not motivated.
Right. I agree.
I struggle with that for sure. All right, so that's great. So now let's talk. We're gonna still utilize and talk about our self-care around the world. So I'm gonna let you start. What do you have for self-care around the world this week?
So for self-care around the world, I have Sweden. They participate in a something called fika. Um, they've adopted this love for coffee on a cultural level, and fika is not just like a regular coffee break. It's a state of mind in which everyone takes a break and appreciates the good things in life. So all you need to do is have coffee or tea and then something sweet. and then they just practice gratitude for their day, which I feel like that's the opposite here in the United States. Like we use our coffee to like fuel our busy schedules. We don't use it as like, oh, let's take a break and relax. Um, we typically use it to, give us energy to deal with all the stressful things in our life.
Agreed. That's interesting. I think, yeah, I agree that a lot of people take coffee, and definitely, you hear them talking about they can't start their day without coffee. They're almost relying on it. But it almost sounds like when you speak about it in regards to tea. We find tea to be a much more soothing practice here in this country, right? If we're having tea. Yeah, so that's interesting. But there's something sweet.
Yeah.
That's a good component of it. I can see having something sweet. I don't know but it could be the same way. It could go either way. It could be a stress reliever, or could just be enjoying something. But sometimes we fall back on sugar and something sweet as a coping mechanism. So yeah, it's an interesting perspective when we talk about these self-care options around the world, and how different cultures view different perspectives of the same types of things that we enjoy here. So speaking of something sweet, my self-care around the world is actually something called a chocolate spa treatment that they utilize in Vienna. And Vienna, I believe, is certainly, if not the chocolate capital of the world, is certainly up there. So in Vienna, they actually will slather the chocolate on your body, and melted chocolate, and it's made from cocoa, which provides various medicinal benefits. So yeah, they're just lying there and they're just getting slathered with chocolate and getting massaged. And I guess it has the antioxidant properties, are great for your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and reduces stress. So hey, if you want to check it out, there's a hotel, the Hostel Sacher in Vienna, and they provide excellent chocolate treatment. So I hear. So we may have to go to Vienna for an on-location holistic health and hot mamas. That could be fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely for that.
And I hear Christmas in Vienna is the place. At Christmas time, Vienna is the place to be. So we'll have to be mindful of that. Pack your bags. That could be coming up.
Yeah, that'll be like one of our Christmas gifts.
Maybe. Yeah. So any listeners, any viewers, if you want to send Courtney and myself to Vienna, we certainly will not mind. All right. So, but I think the essential part of any self-care routine is that we just take it easy, relax, and just take a little bit of time for self-care and self-love. That's always the primary benefit of self-care, I believe. And whatever.
Yeah. Right. Self-care is not one size fits all. So people, talk about self-care as like, taking a hot bath with candles. Like that's not everyone's self-care. Like self-care could be going for a hike or, reading a book. It's not all, self-care is not the same for everyone.
True. And it doesn't have to cost money either. I think that some people think that pampering yourself costs money. It doesn't necessarily have to. Read a book, call a friend, take a brisk walk, and drink the tea. And sometimes you may want to throw a few dollars in, but for the most part, it doesn't necessarily have to be. All right. So now our next segment, actually, as I'm throwing it to you, it's going to be a new segment, everyone. We're going to call it Courtney's Corner, and she's going to speak about something that's relevant and important to her, and in her role as a fitness coach. Tell us a little bit about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that as you're talking about? Let's go right to Courtney's Corner, and I think that. We probably made the assumption that everybody knows you from whatever on Wednesday, but they're two different audiences. So tell us about you, what you do, and how this show ties into your goals and ambitions and your profession.
Yeah, so I am a mom. I have two daughters, Maddie and Melanie. Maddie is 5 and Melanie is 2. I also have a husband. and I am a health coach, a health and wellness coach. I've always been interested in health and fitness, but I really started taking it seriously around when COVID started, just because, you know, I had all this time on my hands. I decided, I really want to take this seriously. I got into the best shape of my life, and now I want to help other people do the same thing.
Great. I love that. And and I think that for both of us, when we've spoken about it offline, that holistic remedies, we're mindful of the amount of chemicals that are out there in the world, and that children ingest and are exposed to, and adults as well. And I've spoken about this many times as well, that I read a study where by the time a child is born, they already have over 200 chemicals in their system, which is really alarming. We think that a mother's body is insulating them and protecting them, but so anything we're ingesting or putting on our skin is really going into our bloodstream, I would expect, and we'll have to do some science on that. I'm going to read a little bit more about it, but I think so. Holistic remedies, and we don't necessarily mean, we just like to find better options. We're not everything is going to be organic or holistic or Zen. We might bring a little bit of those things in and see if we can find some better options for some of the products and services that you already enjoy and receive. So that's something I think that we're going to be mindful about. So that being said, all right, so let's delve into Courtney's corner. What do you have on tap? What are you pulling out of the dark recesses of the corner today?
So today I wanted to talk about fitness trackers. I follow this really this known fitness influencer, and somebody asked her, why don't you wear a fitness tracker? And she said, because they're not accurate. But I find that mine is pretty accurate in my opinion. And I just wanted to talk about, that trend, the fitness tracker trend. Are they necessary? What do you think?
Are they necessary? Probably not, because people survived before technology. But I think that I'm reliant on mine. It's I wake up every day. It's one of the very first things I look for. The only time I take it off, I don't sleep with it. A lot of people monitor their sleep, so I don't sleep with it or shower with it. But almost every other part of the day, I'm wearing it. And it's funny, when they first came out, they were so big and so unattractive. I was thinking, as a woman, they're not feminine at all, but I don't think anybody cares about that now. They're just so commonplace. They're still not very feminine. I have a Fitbit. I mean, some you can get, there are some accessories, and some of them are much more stylish than the early ones, but I think there's just such a staple in our environment. And I have two different schools of thought on it. I think that so many of them too. In my opinion, I don't believe that the fitness trackers are off in regards to movement. I believe that that's fairly well documented. I think the steps are probably pretty accurate, the heart rate, because I've utilized them as a tool in my toolbox to lose weight. So I know that it's working in some capacity. I think the part that may be questionable is when you're aligning it. For instance, I have the Fitbit. So of course, with many people will align the trackers with apps, including I use my Fitness Pal, which monitors my food. I think the part which gets to be questionable is when people are utilizing the fitness tracker as a way to add calories into their day for exercising. I think that that's a lot of the times. There's been a lot of questions about that. I've read many, many things about that. I mean, have you read about that component of it?
No, I haven't read about that part, but yeah, that is a good point. I can see where that could be, a little inaccurate or misleading. But I have the Apple Watch, and it's pink, it's pretty. I got this like cool, I don't know if you see, there's like little diamonds on the band. So yeah, I agree. I think, when they first came out, they were very unattractive, but there's ways now to make them more pleasing to the eye.
I agree. But even it's still just a big box,
Right. Yeah.
So no matter which way you look at it. So they're nicer, but they're still, it still doesn't look like a Cartier bracelet or something.
Right.
But they're so commonplace. Everybody has them. They're almost as if they're part of our arm at this point.
Right. Yeah.
So regardless if they're accurate or not, I'm keeping mine. I'm going to say that because I would be lost without it. And I will say the days when I have 20,000 steps and the watch says I have 20,000 steps, I feel a lot less bloated and a lot lighter. So it's doing something.
Right. And I like I don't know about yours, but my Apple Watch, I can hook mine up to my friends and we can like compete with each other. So it's pretty cool. And and it helps keep me motivated. It helps me, keep track of how much how active I've been during the day. And even if it's not accurate, it still helps me to keep myself accountable.
Agreed. And I think too that I am, and I've spoken about this in the past, is I'm fanatic about tracking my calories. So I am relying on that because this does sink in, and I have one spot where I can see how many steps I took. And so the Fitbit will align, syncs with my FitnessPal, so I can see, it impacts the water, the exercise, the food, and everything is in one spot. So I like that component of it too, where, and I would assume most of the mainstream name brand fitness trackers sync with any of these apps. So I think that it's just an added tool, and I love how everything syncs together and works seamlessly. So that's really a great benefit.
Right.
So for me, my wellness trend. Oh no, we did that. So since you have a Courtney's Corner, I'm going to throw this at you. I tried to find us something to go with Joe. What was a good Jade name that I thought about? Joe's Joint. I wasn't crazy about that. It could take the show in an entirely different turn, which many may perceive to be holistic, but I decided against that. And then it could have been Joe's Jaunt or Joe's Joy, but I decided to abandon Joe, and I'm going with my own little corner, and I'm going to call it Tierney's Tidbits. What do you think of that?
Nice. I like it.
And so my focus, I'm not sure what my focus is going to be. It might be about mindset. It might be about self-love, and it might be about, who knows, it could be like whatever on Wednesday, whatever happens, Mindfulness Monday, perhaps, but I don't want to call it that because I don't want to limit myself. So Tierney's Tidbits, I was thinking about all of the areas of my life. I think that for a growth, I try to stay in a growth mindset. And I think for me, it takes work. I'm not always in a growth mindset, and I speak about it and I advise others that that's where they should be. But I think about the areas of my life when I've been most successful, and that trajectory, and how did I get there? And I want to talk about having short-term goals, but making long-term plans, but still living in the moment. I find that formula, I'm often about three-pronged formulas, and our health and wellness business really relies on a three-pronged formula. And I find that that's beneficial too. I want to have a short-term goal. And I think my short-term goal is I want to get to my pre-COVID fitness level. And so that's my short-term goal, because that's not going to take very long. And my long-term plan, so I have that short-term goal, but the long-term plan is to really, it's a professional plan. I have professional plans and I have personal plans, but I don't want to say that I'm focused on the future, but I do have goals. I think I have plans. I think any goals need a blueprint, a plan. So that's what I do. I'm mindful of a short-term goal. I have a long-range plan, but I also want to live in the moment. I want to enjoy where I am right now. And to do that, I think it requires balance. If I'm too focused on the future, I can't appreciate or enjoy my present. And I think the one good thing is I've learned to abandon the past. I don't focus on that anymore. And it took me a very, very long time to get there, because you can't change that. You can't change the past. You gotta worry about where you are today. How can you propel yourself forward to where you want to be? And I believe that developing short-term goals and long-term plans are the key. What do you think of that strategy?
Yeah, I agree. That's a great strategy. I feel the same way. I always have these goals and future plans and thinking about what I'm gonna do next, what am I gonna do next. But I feel the same way. Sometimes I lose sight of the present moment. So that's something that I need to keep in mind also.
Yeah, I agree. I think balance is huge. And I think there are so many times in my life I'm not balanced. I get
Yeah.
obsessed with one thing, fitness, and then broadcasting, and so now I'm just trying to fit it all in. And maybe I can't fit it all in to the degree that I want to, but those are professional ambitions and endeavors. Of course, the important parts are family and friends, and making time for those for parties and holidays and those things, and just even conversations with our friends. So I'm much more mindful of that. I slip and I find myself, if I get involved in a task, I won't look up or get out of my chair, but perfectionism and progression, it should never replace personal relationships. So I think, don't make the mistakes that I have. And I'm not focusing on the past. I'm not going to say in the past, but I'm going to say, don't take a look at your own lives and see where it is that if there are opportunities to create more balance, which will enable you to live in the present moment, then I'm going to encourage you to do that.
Right. Well, one good thing about this show is that it gives us an opportunity to spend more time together.
That's true.
So it's like a 2-for-1.
well, now, true. I don't know if I can speak to you about my personal life now. I don't often mingle and share my business with coworkers. So you could be out. You could be out of that. You're out of the holidays.
Oh no.
And so for the listeners who don't know, we'll throw it out there. Courtney is actually my niece and really as close to as a daughter as I'll ever have. So my sister shares her with me, which has always been a great benefit in my life. And I always say, besides my parents, of course, Courtney was my first love. And that's absolutely the truth. My first unconditional love. I think your parents, you expect conditions out of them, but Courtney was the first child in my life. And now she's a grown woman and she's my collaborator. She's my business partner, and she's one of my inspirations. So she's still in on the holidays, everyone. Don't worry. I'm not actually kicking her out. And the fact is she's really my boss in some ways. So I'm stuck with her. No matter what. All right. So Tierney Tidbits. And our typical format is typically an hour, but since we're venturing into a new show, we should have actually discussed this at the top of the hour, and we forgot. We're not live. We're not going to be doing our show live for the short term until we really develop and figure out a time slot that works for both of us. Going live is problematic for a few reasons. So for now, we're going to be recorded show, and typically we would have questions from the viewers. We still want you to continue to put your questions in the comments, and we will answer them the following week. And we also want everyone to be engaged in our Facebook group. We're going to share that. And I meant to share, there's a scrolling option at the bottom of the screen where I was going to put our Facebook group up. But, just look for Holistic Health and Hot Mamas in the Facebook group and join our group. And then we're going to share information. We're going to be interacting on, Courtney's really going to be the lead in that. She's going to be interacting with the viewers more often, and we're both going to be posting and sharing the show several times throughout the course of the week. So you don't have to watch it at any designated time. But if you have questions, please post them in the comment section. We are going to be monitoring them. And we're also going to be here's another opportunity for you to mingle with us live. We're going to be doing a Clubhouse live after hours. not after hours, but after the show. So our intent is to do on Mondays. The show typically airs at, in the past it's aired at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we're going to bump it up to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right at 8 p.m. we're going to be on Clubhouse. And so if you have any questions, if you're watching this in our usual time slot and you want to hop on and interact with us, join us on Clubhouse at 8 o'clock on Mondays Eastern Standard Time. And we'll probably stick around there for, depending upon the traffic, at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And if we have a lot of questions and comments, who knows? We could go all night. It's been a long time since I've done an all-nighter, but I'll do it for you.
Yeah, it'll be the Hot Mommas after party.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to call it. That is what we should call it. All right, good thing. Hot Mommas after party. We're going to put holistic health in there too, because that could change the entire, who knows? We'll see what happens. We are hot mamas. We'll see what happens.
Right.
So our next segment is that we thought about it, and because we used to do a viewer challenge, and we still want to do that throughout the course of the week, but because we're not live, or our next couple of shows for the short term anyway aren't going to be live, so we're going to challenge each other. I'm going to give Courtney a challenge, and she's going to give me a challenge, which I'm dreading and worried about. But since I know Courtney pretty well, I'm going to throw out, and I think she's probably going to, she may quit the show on the spot, but I'm going to challenge you, Court, to a digital detox.
Oh, oh boy, I probably need one.
All right, so I see you with your phone attached to your hand, oftentimes. So I think that it's hard to. I was going to challenge you to put the phone down for 90 minutes less than you typically do, but how would you know how much time you actually spend? So I'm going to challenge you to actually track your phone uses. I want you to use your phone as much as you typically would, but for the first 3 days of this challenge, so that would be, we can start actually, let's start tomorrow. So we're recording on Sunday. So for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I want you to monitor how much you utilize your cell phone. And then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I want you to use that phone 90 minutes less than the average of those 3 days.
All right. I'm up for the challenge. I don't even want to know how much I'm on my phone. I know it's probably too much. I have tried in the past to give myself a phone detox. And it is good for my mental health. So I'm up for the challenge.
All right, great. Now, I should have let you go first, because now you're probably going to be extremely hard on me. All right.
My challenge for you is to do cardio 4 times this week.
Oh boy, because I've confided in Courtney that I've been slipping a little bit on my cardio game. So I appreciate it. I need the push. I'm gonna go for the challenge, and maybe I'll go 5 times. Who knows?
Yeah.
and so I'm still doing the strength training. You're right, but I have been slipping on the cardio a little bit, and it's not so much that. Yeah, you're right. It elevates my mood and it changes my game. So I'm on it. I'm going to do 4 days of something. Do I have a time frame? Could it be 2 minutes? 2 minutes of cardio. 4 minutes for. All right, I'll up it. I'll do 4 minutes of cardio for at least an hour in duration. That's usually what the works. Well, I'll say 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour is usually what works best for me. So all right, I'm going to do it.
All right.
All right. So on that note, let's think about, we covered all of our topics. Is there anything else we want to talk about? We already teased what we're going to talk about next week, the festive foods. So that'll be fun. We're going to talk about some fall foods and some foods maybe for the holidays. We can talk about Halloween foods because it'll be the 1st of October. We won't do that segment again until probably the first week of November. So we're going to look at some foods that are healthy. And we don't mean entirely healthy, because obviously we don't want to deprive anybody, but how about a little bit healthier of your favorite festive Halloween foods? And that's a tough one, because the food for Halloween is candy. How are we going to liven that or make that any healthier?
I don't know. We'll have to think of something, but this is something that I would definitely benefit from because I am all about, the apple cider donuts and the pumpkin spice everything. So I'm excited to see what we can come up with.
All right, perfect. Now that you mentioned pumpkin spice, I do use pumpkin and some healthy recipes. So that's one I'm already on. Good. Pumpkin spice. I'm on that one. All right, so
Oh,
perfect.
good. You have to
So
share it with me.
all right, well, I'll share it with everybody next week. I'm not gonna clue you in early. All right, so we're gonna close it out. We know we're only at the 40-minute mark, but maybe that's an appropriate time frame. Who knows? But hopefully the last, and that really speaks to the interaction on the show, because typically we go to the hour and oftentimes we run out of time. So the audience participation really seems to be an integral part of this program, and maybe that's going to be a catalyst and an impetus for us to find a time to go live. So we'll give that some thought. But in the meantime, we're glad that you tuned into the recording. And again, I want to welcome Courtney to the team. Hopefully Brooklyn will be on. Maybe she'll come on next week for Brooklyn's Best. She's going to continue to do a feature and share all of her best products and tips with us. And she's really has a different perspective on many of these products. And if you have any questions, still feel free to reach out to Brooklyn, DM me, DM Courtney. And we're going to we'll look at all the same products that we did. We don't want to shy away from the holistic part of it. That is part of our component. And we will talk about some of those topics as well moving forward. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm sure everybody right now is watching football, but tomorrow night when we're on, there'll be no excuses. So we will see you tomorrow night. Thank you, Courtney. You want to say a few minutes? You want to close it out?
I just want to say thanks everyone for watching. Feel free to shoot me or any of us any questions, and we'll be happy to talk about it next week. And I'm excited to be on Holistic Health and Hot Mamas. Thanks for having me.
All right, great. And don't forget, if you're tuning in Monday at 7, you can join us on Clubhouse. And you can also find us. We have a Holistic Health and Hot Mamas Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're going to be looking for some TikTok on there. You could see us. You might see Courtney dancing. I'm probably going to stay away from that, but that's something for another episode. So thanks, everybody. We will see you. Hopefully, we'll see you in Clubhouse. We'll talk to you in Clubhouse shortly. And if not, we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.